You smell so good. I just wish you lasted that little bit longer. We've all been there, haven't we? You buy a fragrance, you're so excited to get it, and then when you smell it, it literally lives up to expectations. Actually, it even exceeds your expectations. You think you've got your signature scent, you think you've sorted now for life, you're going to buy this all the time. And then an hour or two goes by and you go, where's it gone? It's just completely disappeared, and the longevity isn't there despite it being a lovely smelling scent. I've been there plenty of times, and the fragrance that I've got a bit of a problem with there at the moment is Arancia di Capri by Acqua di Parma. This is a beautiful sort of citrus orange scent, but it does not last. And if you look at the reviews on Fragrantica, it just doesn't, everyone says the same thing. Smells amazing, but it does not last. So what happens then? What do you do if you've got that situation where you love the fragrance, you can't get anything that smells as good as that, but it doesn't last, and you're spending quite a bit of money? Well, I'm going to try a few things today. What I'm going to do, I've just finished my run actually because it was raining. I didn't take my phone with me today. I'm going to do my walk to the gym, head to the gym like I'd normally do, and do a workout. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if some of these sort of tried or tested myths, let's say, to make fragrances last longer, which one's the most effective. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spray the fragrance just on the sort of top of my arm as it is, maybe 5 times. Then I'm going to overspray on my arm. So that's one of the sort of theories out there. Just spray more. Spray more, it'll last longer. Spraying clothes, obviously because of things like sweat. And the other one, I'm going to apply petroleum jelly or Vaseline, if anyone doesn't know what it is. Essentially, it's just like this really thick, oily stuff. And probably too much info, but I use it on like nipples and other areas for running, to basically stop rubbing and chafing, because it can be uncomfortable, but it just essentially stops things drying out. It's a moisturizer, but it's very, very greasy. I'm hoping that will help layer the fragrance and make it last longer. So we're going to try those things now, and I'll just quickly talk about the fragrance while I do that process. Okay, so I'm going to spray 5 times up here. Now that's absolutely nothing other than just the fragrance that's applied. And again, this fragrance, it's just this really nice, bright, uplifting, zesty orange. That's really all I can say from it. There's nothing too technical, just very simple, but it's just done perfectly. You just smell the quality. It smells like a decent Acqua di Parma. It's like a very nice orange sort of drink, orange juice, orange squash. So I'll spray 10 times on my top. Obviously, that's hopefully, I'm not getting the sweat and the skin chemistry from that. I mean, obviously, you've seen my videos before. I always spray my top. The next one, I'm going to overspray. So I'm going to do that on this side. So I'm going to go, let's go, 20. 15, actually. Look, it's dripping off my arm, actually. I don't know if you can see that. So 15 is plenty. I don't want to waste this anyway. It's a very nice fragrance. And then the last one, which this just gets stuck on everything. I'm going to apply sort of lump of petroleum jelly just on my arm here. As you can see, I'm going to make sure it's properly rubbed in, like so. And then we're just going to spray that part of my arm. Well, let's do 8 times. We're going to change it. I'm going to do 8 on my arm as well. So I did 8 on my top, 8 on my arm. Now I did 15 on the overspraying one. So greasy. So there, and then we're going to do 8. And it'll be interesting. So really what I want to do today is just see which one lasts the longest, and if there's one that's stronger than the other, or does it actually make no difference? Are people looking too much into it? Because you can get fragrances like eccentric molecules that have a note like Ambroxan or ISO-E Super, and apparently they help the longevity of the fragrance, and maybe they do. But I just want to test these other methods today and just see how much of a difference does it really, really make, and just sort of then give my thoughts at the end. I'm going to give 5 tips at the end today of what I would do if you're thinking of buying a fragrance but you're a little bit worried about its performance. So let's get going anyway. Let's get a top on, head to the gym, and I'll kind of give my thoughts halfway through my walk today, see if I notice any differences, and just see how it goes. Okay, so I'm about 45 minutes into my walk now, so sort of halfway towards the gym. Just want to first of all check before I talk about sort of strength. Has any of them sort of changed in terms of smell? As I've sort of mentioned before, test strips don't smell like skin, and have any of them reacted maybe to like the Vaseline or anything like that? So let's start on the top. Okay, I can't even really smell that one, to be honest. It's very windy, as you can probably tell. And this is the one I oversprayed. That smells so nice. Oh, it's really nice. That skin smell. Right. And the Vaseline's actually made that one softer, I would say. It's the one that feels the most zesty out of the sort of performing ones is certainly just the overspraying. The overspray, I can't actually really smell the one on my top, which I'm very surprised about. Annoyingly, I put my coat on, so I can't smell the original one to see how long it lasts, but I will do that when I get to the gym. But yeah, so far, sort of 45 minutes in, the overspraying is winning. Yeah, talking about the one where I've oversprayed, it's really reacted with my skin. It's become more zesty, more fizzy. That's probably what I'd say. And, it's really interesting, if you get hot and cold and start sweating, how fragrances do change. And obviously I do those shower tests, and they really do. And, it's just become a lot more zesty. It's lovely. Okay, so just arrived at the gym. So this is where the fragrance was originally. It's very faint. This is about an hour and a half now. And yeah, I can barely smell it, to be honest with you. So let's do the overspraying one. Certainly stronger, but it is starting to wear off. It's probably about sort of 50% there, I would say. So where that's about 30, that's probably 50. Let's try the Vaseline. Bad again at all. I'm really surprised, really surprised. 10%, if that. Not getting anything really. And on my top, I think it's pretty much gone. I'm really surprised. At the moment, the overspraying one is definitely working the best, but I'm going to do my workout now. Then what I might do is, obviously the top won't be in it, but I'm going to obviously do the shower, have a shower, and then just see if maybe these ones, the sort of Vaseline one, comes to life again a bit more. So yeah, let's do my workout. It'll be about an hour, and we can then see what survived. Okay, so I'd left the gym about sort of 40 minutes ago. So it's been about 3.5 hours since I applied the fragrance. I smelled my arm just before I left, just where I did the sort of normal spray, like you'd apply it as normal. 10 to 15% strength, it's basically gone. The Vaseline, look how much it's ruined my coat. It's horrible, it's all greasy, it's all got stuck to it. Now let's see how that smells. Oh, it's coming through. So that's come through quite a lot. I reckon that's about 30% as strong as it was when I applied it now. And that's really weird because earlier it really wasn't at all. But what I'm going to say is, initially, now Vaseline or Petroleum, it doesn't really have a scent. It's not perfume, but you can smell it, and it was actually stronger than the fragrance. I wonder now, because I've had a shower, if it's just sort of taken a bit of that Vaseline off the top, and the fragrance is stuck to it. It's coming through. So yeah, that layering has actually worked now. I wasn't very happy with it initially. The overspraying is about 10 to 15% as well. It's no stronger than the sort of normal spraying now. It was pre-shower though, I must say. So, it's only just that it's kind of washed off initially. And yeah, in terms of my top, I couldn't smell it at all. By the time I left, it was just not there. I put on a different fragrance first thing this morning, Lush Sticky Days, and I just wonder if that may have just confused me a little bit with the smell, which is strange. But I think maybe my theory with this is that because this is a quality fragrance, Active Palm, not synthetic, top quality oils, maybe it was always going to perform better on my skin than my clothes. I think fragrances that do better on clothing, which I use, probably tend to be the more synthetic ones, and maybe the cheaper ones in general. So the overall winner, that's about 35 to 40% strong. That's really surprised me how that's come out since I've had a shower. And it's very pleasant. I almost don't even feel like you would want to reapply it, but that's
yeah, that's finally come through. I was really disappointed with that pre-chat because I just thought that Vaseline would sort of make the fragrance stick to it, and it obviously has. I just maybe put a bit too much Vaseline on, so maybe that is just something to be aware of. Maybe when you're doing layering with things like petroleum jelly, just be aware not to apply too much if the fragrance maybe isn't as strong. So very interested, but that is the overall winner here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head back and I'm just going to give you sort of my 5 sort of tips, let's say. I mean, I'm not an expert with this, as you know, but 5 tips of things I think you could do to make your fragrance last a bit longer, because yeah, they're not cheap.
Okay, so we're back home, but actually it's quite a lot later than it was, essentially. So when you last saw me, it was like 1 o'clock or 12:30, something like that. It's now nearly 5 o'clock, and I just wanted to kind of see how the fragrance smelled before I gave my recommendations. Now, it's completely gone from the overspraying Arancia di Capri. It's gone from the top of my arm from the normal spray. Obviously, as I said, I've taken the top off, but I can very, very faintly, we're talking 10% here, still smell the fragrance Rancia di Capri from that Vaseline sitting on it. So it's definitely worked with that. I'm really surprised actually how well it's done after all that. Because yeah, it's not a very strong fragrance, this one, and it definitely works. So layer with Vaseline or petroleum jelly. It's something I might do a little bit more now, being in a sort of customer service facing role. I think it's great, and it may just help just get a compliment at the gym. That's the plan. I want a compliment at the gym. Anyway, I'm going to give you my extra 5 tips now of what else you could do if you don't want to rub yourself in greasy petroleum jelly. No, can't think of it. No. So the first one is do your research. Now, you do not have to do this sort of thing. You don't need to take notes. So what do I mean by do your research? Well, ask yourself first of all, what do you actually want? So do you want a fragrance for the gym? Is it for work? Is it for nights out? What is it you're asking for? Summer, winter, just consider those things, because obviously that's going to depend on the sort of notes you get. Now, when I say that, obviously in the summer you're going to want those more sort of citrusy notes, those sort of more summery ones at the gym, like a shower gel. And then in the winter you probably want something a bit sweeter, a bit heavier. And obviously, if you're into fragrances, those sweeter sort of heavier notes in the winter cut through the cold, they last a bit longer, they project a bit more. So just ask yourself, what are you actually looking for in projection? Do you want something really strong or sort of moderately strong? So yeah, just consider that. Now my advice with that is, in terms of doing your research, Fragrantica's great. Look, there's some terrible reviews on there. Take it with a pinch of salt. But what you'll find is, if you looked at it overall as a sort of general view, you'll get an accurate representation of what people think and the performance, So most people are pretty fair on there. I'd say once you put everyone together, you do kind of get the result you want. And it'll tell you all the notes. It'll tell you those things that you probably want. So yeah, just do a bit of research before you buy anything. Or if you can, as I always say, try it in a shop, because, if it's expensive, you don't want to get something and go, oh, I really didn't want that. So first one is that. Obviously consider eau de cologne, eau de toilette, eau de parfum. In a general rule of thumb, again, eau de cologne is going to be the weakest. This is an eau de toilette, and yeah, it doesn't perform probably as well as some of my eau de parfums. So yeah, just be aware of the fact that concentration of perfume could play a role as well. So what do you like? You like oranges? Makes sense. I like oranges too. You do smell very citrusy, even from the lid. So yes, of course, you don't need to get to know your fragrance that much. So what do I actually mean by get to know your fragrance? So you've taken the plunge, you've ordered it. Best thing I would say to do, first of all, is just try it. Just try it at home, see how it sort of develops, because fragrances can change very much from the opening to the dry down. Some like this can be very boring, very linear. But I've had fragrances that literally, I'll give you an example. One of the ones I first had, Versace Blue Jeans, very citrusy opening, and then it sort of becomes a bit more smoky, and they can change. So my advice is always sort of try at home at first. Ask family and friends. Don't be afraid to say, what do you think of this? Is this sort of suitable? And obviously, don't be too swayed by their opinion. Ultimately, it's what you like. Fragrances are subjective. Some of them might go, oh, I don't really like that. Or they might go, that's really nice, really strong. So yeah, just try at home. See if it lasts 4 or 5 hours. And then you might go, actually, I thought it was suitable for the gym, but actually this is a little bit too powerful. Maybe it's just an outdoor run, something like that. So just get to know your fragrance, ask other people what they think, and yeah, ultimately then you go with your judgment, because it's your judgment that matters. But that will help you sort of judge, if you think it's too strong or not strong enough for what you want. So if you've taken that plunge, I would think try it at home maybe 3 or 4 times, try in different climates, and just ultimately try it where you think you might want to use it, and just sort of think, oh, would that work? So that's my second tip. On to the third one. It's coming with me. So yes, take your fragrance with you. Well, what do I mean with that? That's pretty obvious. You don't need to take it with you like this for a run. This is an exercise travel backpack. But let's say you're at work and you sort of think, well, this fragrance, it sort of lasts okay. I've bought it now. I said, it's not quite as strong as I hoped. Take the fragrance with you. There's nothing wrong with reapplying it. Now, obviously, I tend to buy big bottles, but you tend to find with fragrances like this one, you can get this, I think, in sort of 50ml, maybe a little bit smaller than that. I think get in 30ml now, actually, the Blue Mediterraneans. So, yeah, you might just want to sort of get a smaller bottle to start with anyway, so then you haven't spent quite so much. And yeah, take it with you, put it in your bag, reapply at lunch. If you go into the toilet, just spray a little bit. I think that's something I definitely do. I've had sort of cheap Next fragrances. I can't get this backpack off. I've had cheap Next fragrances that certainly only last about an hour, but they've got compliments because I've put it on at lunchtime. So yeah, just take it with you. Very, very simple. And you can overspray a little bit then. Okay, so the fourth one is buy a clone. Now, you can't get a clone of this, and I appreciate a lot of phrases you can't get clones, but they are getting more and more common, that's for sure. And I've even had an Aqua de Palma clone of Sakura. But you tend to find, particularly with these really popular designer fragrances, which, let's be honest, most people are looking for if you're going for, compliments and things like that. And that's probably where you want stronger fragrances. Again, this is a huge bottle. I'm not going to take that with me, and it's very expensive. So what I tend to do, again, for better performance, I'll spray this first thing in the morning, like so. It's definitely strong, smells really nice. And I've got this smaller Ted Hermes original clone from the Essence Vault. At lunchtime again, or in the toilet, whatever, I could just reapply. So it's just sort of topping it up essentially, and then you'll find you get that extra longevity. I did that with the original Amen with Cuba Prestige Classic, which obviously I've done a review on recently. So yeah, absolutely fine to buy a cheap clone. It just tops up that fragrance for you in the day without thinking, I spent so much money on that, or the bottle's too big, or yeah, it just saves you worrying. So that's my fourth tip for longevity. Just got one more. And the fifth one, well, to be honest with you, this probably isn't the best answer for more longevity, but I think it's important to talk about it when we're talking about longevity. It's just enjoy the fragrance for what it actually is sometimes. I think sometimes there's so many opinions out there, and in terms of reviews of fragrances, I've had some that are so strong that I've become almost nose blind to it. I can't really smell it anymore, but everyone else can. So fragrances are subjective. There's no such thing as the perfect fragrance out there. I said, I really like this fragrance, but I don't think it's very strong. For some people, though, that'd be more than enough. And you can still appreciate it for what it is in terms of its performance. Yeah, it's not really strong. Yeah, it's not exactly what I wanted, but it's fine. It's absolutely fine. And if you really want to, you spray more, or ultimately you probably just go and buy another one, and that's great. That's what I love about fragrances. You can research everything, you can pretend you're an expert on here, but nobody is an expert in terms of performance longevity. We all, have different opinions on different fragrances, and that's what's so amazing about it. So I think just don't overthink it. Don't worry about it. Just wear what you're happy with, wear what you're comfortable with. If you do those other steps, you'll find what's right for you in the end. And ultimately, I'll be honest with you, I never get bored of trying different things anyway. So if it's not quite right for me, I'll just go and get another one until I find that perfect scent. I've found loads I love. There's very rarely a fragrance I don't try, and if I don't even think it's for me, I'll appreciate it and like it for what it is. I've had plenty like that. I really honestly just love just trying different things, and what works for me and what I think smells good for me in terms of what I'm wearing, I don't think works for my dad or my brother. So yeah, don't overthink it. Basically, if you want a strong performing fragrance, you'll find one. If it's not quite as strong as you want, just take those extra steps, and yeah, don't worry about it, because you'll get compliments with fragrances. They're there to get compliments ultimately, a lot of them, and if not, just enjoy it for what it is. yeah, that is it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this one. So it's a little bit of a different video today. It's a very interesting science experiment. The Arancia di Capri is a brilliant fragrance. It really is a great fragrance. I love it. It's super, super well put together. I'm going to wear it. I don't care if it's not very strong at times. It's very pleasant, and if someone does catch a whiff of it, that's a bonus. But sometimes it's all about just for you. Just appreciate fragrances for what they are. You know, be a bit different. You know, you don't have to smell like everyone else. If you like something, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about it. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this one. There'll be more sort of fragrance videos to come. Obviously, as I said, I've got a few other commitments now, sort of work commitments, but I've got a few sort of new ideas I want to do soon, which I'll certainly put into practice over the next week. So yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you later.